Hi everyone. Today is June 1st. Welcome to Konveyor community meeting. We abide by Konveyor code of conduct, which means please be nice to one another. Before I'm going to put the agenda link once again in the chat. Please feel free to add yourself to the agenda as attendees. And my computer is too slow. So before I dive into the topics, I just want to take a minute and say I'm Savita. I'm one of the conveyor maintainers, and I'll be your host today. And I see a few new folks. If you want to say hi, go ahead. There is no obligation. So if you want to say hi, please go ahead. Otherwise, we can just dive in right into it. All right, then. So the first up is demo topics, and we have a topic today, external providers in LSP Analyzer. Sean or Pranav, are you there in the call? Go and see.
Crap.
All right.
Let's see what they're.
If someone could ping them, that'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah, I'll ping them.
Thank you. And I'm going to move on to the next one, which is decompilation of Java binaries in LSP Analyzer. And I think it's David.
Yeah. All right. Well, I was kind of counting on people going before me, but that's okay. So I've thought long and hard about how to make this demo like really cool, but I've mostly failed. So I'm just gonna share my screen and show you what's going on now that we have support for decompilation of Java binaries. So are you able to see my screen now? All right. So what I'm going to show is now we can specify the Java provider and the location of the file to be a jar, war, or ear file. And when we see these files, what we're going to do is we're going to crack them open using like unzip just to crack them open. And then all we're going to do is when we see the class files, we're going to decompile them. And we're going to decompile them in place. And what you'll see is trying to decide if I'm brave enough to try and do this live, or if I'm just going to show you the output. I think I'm a previous build that I did of the testing Docker file, which is, let me show that real quick. So in the testing Docker file, what we're doing is we're running the conveyor analyzer using our providers and the rules from the rule example. And here we validate it against the expected output, but since I'm changing that output, it's going to fail on this one. So if I show you the analyzer LSP, the violation output, what you can see is that we're actually evaluating files inside a decompiled Java binary. And that's really all there is to it. So we can now specify files that are compiled Java, and we'll crack them open. I see comments about it moving slow. Has it caught up?
Yeah, we're all good now.
Yeah. So the main thing that I wanted to show was that we were analyzing files inside the compiled Java binary. So are there any questions about this feature that I can talk to you? I tried to think of ways to make it more appealing, but that's the best I could do.
That's awesome.
It's really cool, David. Does anyone have any questions for David? All right, moving on to the other demo, the external providers and LSP analyzer. Sean, whenever you're ready, please take it away.
Awesome. Hey, everybody. Let me start sharing my screen. And let me know if it is too small or too big.
Small.
Too small? Okay. How about now?
It's better somehow.
Cool. So today I wanted to show folks the external providers work that we put in. External providers are a way for people to bring their own providers that would allow them to provide conditions and capabilities for users to use in their rules. This is a way for us to rapidly add new functionality across the engine. So we look over here, I can show you the external provider that we have for Golang. All we needed to do was conform our Golang provider to a client, and then you can just run the server. And this is all you needed along with the provider work to conform to the interface. But this is all that was needed. And so I actually have this running down here. It's listening on port 17902. And so this is going to be using a gRPC connection. And so to show this, we're going to go ahead and go here, and we will add address to the provider settings. This will tell the analyzer, the engine, to go ahead and connect over this particular port and path. And we can now go ahead and run settings with the provider. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and test it out with our rule set. And you can see that we're actually calling the evaluate. We're seeing that we're getting stuff. We're calling the RPC. And so what's interesting here is that the initialization of the language server is in this external provider. So the external provider is going to own every bit of connecting and contacting how it's going to get information for a given set of providers and conditions. And now that we can take more than one init config, it will be able to handle more than one running connection and everything else. So the server itself actually is able to hide most of this complexity that we provide. All you have to do is provide us with that interface and that client. This only works for Go right now, but we could add this to more languages in the future if we had those requests. But as this is running, what you're seeing is a bunch of calls to gRPC with a lot of extra output, and then you're seeing a lot of you're seeing the engine roll through the engine how it normally does in our testing Docker file. Are there any questions about external providers and what they give us?
What's the main advantage of an external provider over one baked into the Go code base?
The major advantage is that we don't have to manage it. The major advantage is that these things can start to be delivered on their own. They can be delivered on their own time frame. They can be delivered how users want. Yeah, I agree, crowd plant. But the major advantage here is that we're able to go ahead and add more providers as that are needed, and not have to re-release the engine not have to do a bunch of stuff. Users would be able to create their own providers if needed, and that sort of thing.
What if they're not very experienced with Go?
Well, because it's gRPC, you can go ahead and create it in your own language. So gRPC is just a protocol that is pretty well defined. It has bindings for every language out there that I can think of that you would want to use. And if we look here at the internal, it's all defined here in this library profile. And so this is how gRPC things are defined. You can generate new clients off of this profile.
This is awesome.
Any more questions? Not from my crowd plant, or cool. I'm really hoping that this helps get the C# stuff working, because it doesn't have to be entry. You can now just use the engine as is and start to develop your own provider. Just adding the provider settings and thing. One thing to note is that it can also, the analyzer can also manage its own, the binary itself. So if you create a binary that runs the server, we're also able to go ahead and start up that, that binary to get the connection, just as a heads up. That's all I got.
That was so cool. Thank you, Sean. So folks, if you are interested in the learning more about analyzers, I'm just dropping the SIG communication and contact in the Slack, and they meet every other Thursdays at 11:30 Eastern if you have any questions. And there is always our Slack channels. And now I'm going to move on to the open discussion. First up is from David. Let me just share my screen again before I start that. I just realized I'm reading off without sharing the screen. So the first, everything is kind of slow today. The first one is moving to customized based manifest generation and operator. David, take it away.
Yeah. So Tiger submitted a pull request probably over a month ago now that fixed our bundle directory by making all of the appropriate changes in config and then using the operator SDK type format to generate our CSV and all of the operator related manifests that we need. So given that I don't necessarily know all that has been done in the operator, I wanted to give the community a chance to cry foul before we accept this PR and use it wholeheartedly. I think I see Tiger's on the call. If he's able to talk to what it does and what it buys us, that would be great. One thing I can say quickly that it does for us is that it gives us a more clear way to install the operator in CI at known versions so that we can, especially when the operator itself is the thing under test, it'll allow us to test the operator as it is in the PR that's being tested. Are you able to talk any more to what's going on in there, Tiger?
Sure. The main thing is the bundle target in the makefile was not working. And this PR kind of fixed that. I know there's some mixed opinions on this. So I think I talked to Sean earlier, and he said this is probably not required. But I just figured I'd made a PR to see what other people think. Yeah, basically the config folder was really out of date. I just updated it to so it can generate the bundle. Yeah, that's kind of what I did.
I had some questions. Not really being familiar with all this. With Tiger's work, are we moving closer to what's recommended right now with Operator SDK? Is that the intent?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, we are.
Yeah, I think it's moving
Cool, so-
closer to Operator SDK, but I don't know if it's like preferred by everyone.
Essentially, like the Tiger, correct me if I'm wrong, Opera SDK will manage all of the bundle substitutions. It adds all the customization files so that if you want to, add automation for example, using different tags in the bundle and get them auto substituted. It's definitely the right way to move towards. It makes it really nice once it's all set up because Tiger did the work also in the other project for OEDP. So
That's cool. And Tiger, thank you for taking the time on your own to kind of go through and help us with this. I know you didn't have to.
Yep.
Appreciate the help. So I guess the other question I had is just, is there anybody that wants to speak up on this? Is there anyone that sees this and saying, hey, there's a problem, there's something, there's a caution? Just because if there's silence, I assume we're going to go forward and do this. I think that's what David's bringing up. This is like the opportunity. If anyone's disagreement, please let us know.
Yeah, I mean, for my part, I was all on board merging it. I was just looking for a good window between some of the upcoming releases to do it so we didn't disrupt anything. And I'm hopeful too that like when we're doing builds for releases, we can kind of strip out a lot of the stuff in the bash script we have and use this. So for my part, I'm all for it. Like I said, I was just looking for a time to merge it that's not disruptive to any release stuff.
Yeah, this is also super helpful. It unblocks some of the CI work that I've been doing. So great to see this come in from my end too.
Yeah, one of the recent comments, I think, from QE was our inability on release branches to have a way of installing from the tip of that release branch. And I think this also brings us closer to that, brings us closer to a world where we can have an easier way of installing Konveyor at specified points in time. So it assists a lot in that automation.
I would just add that we probably want to make a way to use regular old YAML files to do that as well, not just bundle catalog, assuming OLM is in the cluster for upstream users.
Yeah, we should be able to, with this change, do like a kubectl apply -k on the manager and install the operator directly, not through OLM. I don't know that we would want to do that in ours. We may or may not want to do that in our development and CI cases, but I think this enables that, where now it's a legit customized directory that we can use. I think I understood you right. Did I understand you correctly, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, I have my other issues with customize, of course, but yeah, that sounds really good.
Ship it.
All right, so I noted that there are overall positive comments. So if you all think otherwise, feel free to add your thoughts. And if everyone, if you want to wait to get anyone's comments, we can, I don't know, like generally, how do you all want to do it? Like comment on the PR for keep it open for 2 days, or if everyone's cool, go ahead and merge it.
Yeah, I think we're good at this point. Yeah, because pretty much I think we have. So we have David in agreement, we have Jason in agreement, we have Sean in agreement, we have Fabian in agreement, and it sounds like we have Dylan in agreement. I haven't heard of anybody that was against it. So I think we're all good for it. I don't think there's any, unless David and Jason want to wait for convenience of releases. I think that's really the next thing. They determine whatever makes sense then.
We're probably at a pretty good point right now. I mean, we have the O.2 branch, right? So I don't see a reason it couldn't be now. David, I don't know. Do you have an opinion?
Yeah, I'm okay with going for it now. I'm hesitant to. There was a short conversation about having this stuff in the release 02 branch to assist in the CI. I'm more hesitant to do that. And just let it ride for a little bit in main, and then next time we cut a release branch, then we have it to use for this stuff.
That makes sense to me.
Cool. Thank you very much
I
for the
hope this.
thank you for the work, Tiger. I appreciate it.
Thank you, David. Sorry that I cut you off. I have this issue with people being silent, and I have this urge to like talk. So I'm really sorry to cut you off. Thank you, Tiger. Thank you, David, for bringing this topic here. Does anyone have anything else to add? All right, then. Moving on to the next one, which is a Konveyor CI update from Fabian.
Yeah, I just wanted to let people know that this is kind of in flight. Been working on it for the last week or two. Basically, we've got a couple sort of like global end-to-end test suites that test the UI and that test like the full API for Konveyor for a project like this, where you've got a bunch of different components working together. It's obviously kind of important to be able to test all that stuff. Right now, it's pretty much, I think, only being tested manually, like when we're going through releases. So if things are failing, like it's a lot of work tracking it down. So basically, I've been working on bringing those suites to the point where we can run them on PRs in Konveyor as well as nightlies, so that we can track these breakages more quickly and not have to do these like mad dashes on getting everything working right before we want to do a release. So I've got a PR up for a reusable workflow that can run these test suites, and we're going to pilot enabling the end-to-end Go API tests on the analyzer related repositories over the next week or two and see how that goes. And at the same time, hopefully get the tackle UI tests to the point where they're passing against main and within a time where it's not going to be too hard to enable them on PRs and then get those enabled too. So the hope is that eventually most repos within Konveyor would be able to just import this reusable workflow and know if they're breaking things down the pipeline immediately, instead of having to wait until they get, someone has to track down the issue right before release and then block it, which is just a pain. So if anyone wants to take a look at that PR, it's up. And we'll just see how all that goes. That's it.
Thank you, Fabian. Thank you for the PR. Does anyone have any questions for Fabian? All right, then. Moving on to the next topic from Ramon.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight that we got interviewed a couple of days ago in the KBE Cube by Example Insider Show, and we talked about Konveyor. So if you have any colleagues, customers, family, and friends that are asking about what we're doing here and what we're going to do in the future, I think that's a very good link to share with them. We had Savitha, John Matthews, and myself invited on that one. It's around 45 minutes, and we talked about migration scenarios, the future, the new analyzers, AI, lots of interesting stuff. So if anyone asks you about what we're doing, I think this is a very good link to share. And that's it.
Thank you for bringing that up, Ramon. I totally forgot. Yeah, it was a fun interview too.
Yeah,
Just
these guys are very cool.
does anyone have any questions? All right, moving on to next one from John.
Just a link. I saw this early this morning that I think it was Erson Young joined CNCF. And as they joined, they mentioned how Konveyor and Move to Cube were two of the projects that they've been using in CNCF. So that was pretty cool. We got to mention.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that. This is wonderful. I feel like we need to put keep these articles and the links in our website somewhere so that folks can read about, or it's like an archive, something like that.
Good idea. Yeah, I mean, this type of collateral that we are generating as we move forward with this, I think that's interesting. I mean, the thing that I'd love the most is to have the Ernst and Young logo in our website. If they
That would be cool.
If they start collaborating with us, which could be a possibility if they become power users of Konveyor. But yeah, I think storing this type of collateral as it gets generated would be good for anyone coming new to the website and trying to understand, because we get asked this thing all the time. Hey, who's using this thing? Who's collaborating with this thing? This is actual proof of usage of what we're building here.
That is so cool. Do we already have the logo of EY in our website?
I guess we should wait for them to become contributors. I mean, they're users, but I guess on the website we are highlighting contributors. But I think there was interest coming from their side. So yeah, let's see what happens. They have gone public about how much they like the project. Let's see if we get them to collaborate with. I mean, even you know how it works. Even feature requests, requirements, all that stuff will count as collaboration with us. That's exactly what we need.
Awesome. So we can always put them under, we can create an adopters page, which we would need for our project, and add them there since they are using our project, and that will actually help us grow our project and move to the next level. I can take this offline. I will create a issue or something, and we can definitely discuss about this. This is so cool. I'm excited.
Cool.
Thank you. Thank you, John, Ramon, for sharing that. And next up is Prinav. We have report comparison test. Prinav, take it away.
Sure. Give me a second. This was actually meant to be a demo, but yeah, that's fine. This PR is not merged, so I'm just going to share the results from my local setup here. All right. So, oh, whoops. Can everyone see my screen? Or can you hear me?
Yeah. We see you.
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Yep. And you see the screen? All right. Awesome. Okay. So we have been, as everyone knows, we have been working on implementing dynamic reports, and the big challenge that we saw was that how do we compare and find out if we are generating the correct data when we run analysis against an example app. So and we want to do that in a scalable way, in a way that we could do that for every other app. And since it's just for every test that you run on an example app, since there's just so much data that that is generated, it's just impossible to do that manually and say that, okay, we are generating the right data in the reports. So I basically wrote some automation which runs windup and the new analyzers with the same example app and generates the reports for both. And then it takes the windup report and converts that into an equivalent reporting for equivalent report in the new format, and then compares the results of both the executions. And as you can see here, I have and that will be available in the windup shim. So you can just run windup shim and say report tests. It's going get the example app, which is the customer Stormcat legacy app from the Konveyor repo, and it's going to run windup and analyzers both. As you can see here, it's running the analyzer and it's running the windup CLI using the exact example applications, example one. And that example one is what we have demos for. And it's basically comparing the results of the two analysis. Now, one important thing to note here is that the report is never going to be a one-on-one copy, right? Because a lot of the way the new analyzers work, a lot of things changed. One important thing that I wanted to point out from this report is that if on the right side, I have the windup report for that app, which is the index.html file. A lot of the issues that you see here are information issues. They don't have story points associated with those. These are the rules that are meant to just give users information about their applications. And in the new analyzers, we convert. We don't have the category information. So we convert all of those rules into tagging rules. So if you see embedded framework Spring MVC, it is going to be a tag in the new analyzer output itself. So if you see embedded frameworks Spring MVC, so all this issue is doing is telling you that this application embeds a Spring MVC library. So that was one major difference that that the new analyzer between the windup and the new analyzer report. Another difference is in the mode. By mode, I mean how analyzers actually work. By default, analyzers go through all the dependencies of the application. So if you can see here, there's a rule that's matched hard-coded IP address. And the exact same rule is matched by analyzers as well. And it's getting you the effort and everything, but it's giving you more incidents. And that's because it's actually going through. Actually, there are two issues with the rule here. Until yesterday, we did not have ability to scope down searches using a list of files. So we want to that rule to have that scope of files added to the rule. But the second major issue is the dependencies thing that I just talked about, is that analyzers go through all dependencies by default, and we are basically working on implementing the exact same modes the windup has in a different way, but we will be able to just say analyze known libraries or analyze just the source code. And when we have those abilities, we'll see all of these extra unwanted incidents that we see right now go away. We also see some unwanted rules matched. which are not expected to match. What it means is that we are not expected. So windup is not generating these rules, and this has something to do with the analyze known libraries option again. And we have issues created for that. And once we have the modes implemented, a lot of these unwanted incidents and issues, the list of those will go down. But for the most part, we are getting all the technology tags. We are getting matches for the right rules, and we are getting extra matches. So the extra matches is the problem that we will solve in the coming 2 weeks. That's all I had. Any questions? One good thing about this automation is that we should be able to reuse a lot of the conversion and so basically the code that converts the violations back and forth between wind-up issues and analyzer issues, that code can be reused in other end-to-end tests in repositories, say in add-on or in the part where that Merrick is working on. A lot of that part can be reused. Another exciting thing that I found out was that since we have this conversion back and forth going on, we could probably use the existing reporting add-on from Java to dump the HTML report. So that's an it's a possibility. In theory, it should be possible. Yeah. Any questions?
That is amazing.
And yeah, once this PR is merged, that should be available in the shim to run in the default Docker file. And as I was doing this, we also found out that we needed some wind-up rules that are baked into some of the Java EE and the Java add-ons, and we converted them in the process.
This is really cool. Thank you for sharing. There is a comment on the chat from Marek. He says, looks great, and we'll look into how this can be, if and how this can be used from Hub. So if you already have some documentation, please link it. If not, just shout out for the message. Does anyone have any questions for Pranav? All right. Do we have any items that we would want to discuss in this call? All right, so I just added a section for shout outs. I've been seeing amazing messages in the chats that going on. So if anyone wants to give kudos, so I'm gonna add it as a permanent item if no one has anything against it, because I really like all these little things. It makes us as a community, it makes us grow, and it is really nice to see these messages. So I'm gonna add a section shout outs, and I've already added it to this meeting, but permanently. So if anyone wants to say anything against it, say it now. Otherwise, it's going permanently there. And if you have anything nice to say about someone that you worked with or something that you really like, please add it to the agenda. And we will read out in the community meeting. This time we have something from Fabian, and it's a shout out to Marek for the Golang suite and the QE team for the UI. There is also a shout out to the QE team for the UI test. So thank you, Marek. Thank you, QE team. So thank you, David. So I'm gonna put that down since no one said anything against it. Thank you. Oh, I see another one. Thank you for the shout out for me. Thank you, Fabian. Thank you, everyone. You made my day, and you can see that I cannot stop smiling. So I'm just gonna hide my face. That's all. We have come to the end of the meeting. So if anyone have anything else, please say no. Otherwise, we will see everyone in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
All right.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.